So, in terms of media and content consumption, like what I mentioned earlier, 98% of the Filipinos have watched videos or listened to music online. Okay? And if you look at the engagement online, there's a high propensity of people consuming it compared to producing it. Okay? And this is very important right now. Aside from the smartphone phenomena, tablets were meant to be a content consumption device. And right now, 1 out of 5 Filipinos who are actually online already has a tablet, whether it's an Android, whether it's a BlackBerry, whether it's an iOS. So, and because of the prices going down, expect this to be increasing in the next few months. So now, I guess the Filipinos now are viewing content through a different lens. If you look at it, on the left side of my graph, these are the traditional, more established medium, TV, newspaper, radio, magazine. In terms of time spent, like what I mentioned earlier, TV is still highest in the Philippines. But what's interesting is time spent on a weekly basis. Look at internet, it's 15 hours compared to 8 hours of TV. And then you have 40% of them actually, in a way, communicating and interacting with people using their mobile phone. And social networks are around 11 hours a week. So you could see the attention right now of people on a more social environment and a more interactive environment. So the traditional media was designed really as a one-way medium, but the internet is an interactive medium. And I think media companies are embracing both and looking at the right balance, how to marry the two together. And in terms of media consumption, it's not actually just the youth anymore. Even the 45 to 50-year-old segment are all starting to appreciate the digital environment. However, my advice has always been to media practitioners that focus on the majority of the audience, which is basically below 34 years old, which is around 80% of the market. It's quite interesting to look at the trends, but majority of the market are still below 34 years old. But if you look at that, the 45 to 54-year-old segment is predominantly on TV. They're very high in terms of radio. But if you look at their consumption as well, in terms of digital experience, it's at parity or even greater right now compared to the traditional media. So it's probably one insight you might want to consider in more in-depth. No? So a quick snapshot lang again. How do we visualize the typical digital Filipino consumer right now? Like what I mentioned, it's an average age of below 24 years old, around 51-49% male-female. So I would say it's fairly gender agnostic. No? It has an increasing disposable income. The biggest opportunity is trying to focus now on the growing digital natives. I'm really quite surprised about this segment. I think a lot of attention needs to be placed on this segment. I have 2 kids. Right now they're doing tablet learning. And when they show to me how they're interacting now in the school environment, I'm blown away. What I thought that they would be consuming in terms of the applications would be obvious from what I use. It's totally different. And it's so seamless. My son, who's 10 years old, would probably create a PowerPoint presentation with interactivity within 5 minutes. It would probably take me an hour and a half to do the same thing with the right tools. But for them, it's so seamless. So they're very interactive and they're very creative. But we also have the responsibility of teaching, I think as media company, teach the youth right now about attribution. Hindi sila pwede ma-softify. Diba? So, they just seamlessly grab videos, grab images in YouTube, and everything without attribution. So we have to have that discipline to instill to them how to give credit to the sources. No? It's also common right now that the multi-screen environment. A lot of us, I'm sure, are guilty right now. You're watching TV, your iPad is open, you're sending text message, and then you're probably, some of you probably still playing PSPs and everything. So it's diverted attention, but you're using multiple devices. So the question, I guess, there is for marketers and media companies, how do you make yourself relevant on a multi-device environment? And again, because of that, there's short attention span. So you need to grab their attention immediately. So I guess what are the key takeaways on the realities right now in the local context? Again, be conscious about the multi-screen environment. I think it's breaking barriers right now. How do we define the media type? Before, if it's like TV, now it's probably expanding it na. It's not just about TV, it's about video. Before, if you define it like radio, it's probably a new definition. It's not just radio, it's probably audio. And even in terms of other formats, we have to expand and redefine how we utilize content to offer it on a multi-screen environment. Video portals are catching up with TV. And like what Mr. Lopez mentioned earlier, right now, ABS-CBN is doing I Want TV. So we can see right now that the more established media companies are starting to embrace this because the trend is there. People want things to be consumed on demand, available anywhere they are. And I think the good thing about that is a lot of our companies now are embracing this trend. And 80% of online audience is either digital natives or digital migrants. So don't be surprised anymore about the behavior for Filipino consumers, but these are the current realities. And that's actually it. I was given 1 hour, but I don't think I should bore you with everything, but it's more like an insight that maybe perhaps some parting words since I still have time. I just came back from a digital digital media festival in Beijing. What surprised me is the ingenuity, the creativity, the execution of the Philippines is at par, if not even better than our counterparts in the region. Last year's event, actually, the Philippines has the least entries that were submitted, but we received 7 major awards. And Philippines actually received the only platinum on the Digital Asia Festival. So it's something that I'm proud to say it was Filipino ingenuity. And I think right now, because of our experience and our maturity on the media space, it's just learning how to utilize digital as a medium. And I've always been saying this in IMAP. If you treat digital as a technology, you will always lose. But if you use digital as a medium, you will always win. So I guess as a practitioner in the digital media, that's an important insight I just want to share with everyone. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Manny. The KBP has a token for you for being one of our speakers.